conservationist, if I'm correct, for this parish, and your local representative in this parish.
I have some handouts. I'm on the program to talk about EQIP and CSP.
Barrett, Lyons.
Barrett, Lyons. I'll back up a little bit. I work the Oberlin field office, which is Allen Parish. USDA offices, and we have rural development here. Rural development is not in every field office that we have. It used to be that way years ago, but with consolidation and a few other things. This area is blessed in that we have an NRCS, FSA, USDA office in almost every parish. Vernon and Beauregard is the exception, and Cameron and Calcasieu. Cameron and Calcasieu consolidated in Lake Charles. Vernon and Beauregard, they have an FSA office in DeRidder, but there's an NRCS office in Beauregard and in Leesville for Vernon Parish. Allen Parish, Colfax has an office. The Grant Parish, Rapides, Natchitoches, all those offices, single parish, single office. NRCS, the Natural Resource Conservation Service, we started out as a Soil Conservation Service and transitioned to Natural Resources, changed our name, but our mission has stayed the same. We're protecting the land. We promote conservation. We have programs that help to push that message. All of our programs are geared, and when you think about, when I say conservation, or when I talk to groups of people and you say conservation, you expect me to go run hug a tree. Conservation, true conservation, is not only good for the environment, it's also good for your pocketbook. One of the things that we push in conservation, nutrient management. The timing, the placement, the amount of nutrients you put out on your crop, whether it's trees, orchards, rice, soybeans, hay, whatever. You're not going to put any more nutrients out there than that crop requires for you to make a profit. If your crop needs 200 pounds of nitrogen out there, you're not going to put 300. Nutrient management. Economics drives conservation. In saying that, some of the programs that we have, this year with the Farm Bill changing, they started to change some of our programs a little bit, but basically our programs are all based off a cost share principle. In other words, in the state, there's a statewide average cost to do something. To do an erosion control structure, to plant grass, to do something in the orchards for alley cropping, or to plant cover crops between the rows when you first get your orchard started. There's a statewide average cost. It costs so many dollars an acre, so many dollars to do that. Then we pay a payment rate of 50% of that to help cover some of the cost of it. Now, pipe drop. Typically you see them in rice fields. That's an L-shaped PVC structure that you put in the corner of the field, so when the water goes out, it goes through the structure and goes into the outlet ditch. We don't have a washout. We use that in pastures, we use that in orchards, we use that anywhere. And we have some variations of that. In South Louisiana, we pay 75% payment rate on that. It costs a lot less money to put that in down here than it does in North Louisiana for some reason. We're going to a regional structure where we're comparing Mississippi, Arkansas, and Louisiana for our payment rates. So they're starting to get a little more variation to them and stuff, but we base our payment rates based off of 50% of that. In other words, when you come in and sign up for a program, you need help on something, we go out there, look at it, we take the application, go through the process, we write a contract. It costs you $100 to do it. And if that's the same as the statewide average, we're going to give you $50 back. And you multiply that up as you go up. But under EQIP, our standard, our basic conservation program, we can do all kinds of things. We do all kinds of things. There's 80-something practices that we can look at and do in there. And I can sit here and bore y'all and tell y'all exactly what they are. But if you have a natural resource concern that deals with soil, water, animal, plants, air, humans, or energy, we have 2 more added to us. Talk to me. We'll go out there and look at it, and we'll figure out something. Not everything fits everybody. My background has nothing to do with pecans. I'll be honest, right up from the front. I got an orchard right across the road from my house, and that's about all I know, and I know they taste good. And my grandmother used to make a hell of pecan pie. But there's things that we can do in orchards, And if I don't know what it is, and it was said earlier, if I don't know how to fix it, or I don't know what it is, I will find you somebody that does know how to do it. And that's the same in every office that you go in the state. I know everybody here is not from Allen Parish. We have somebody from St. Landry Parish. We have people from Colfax. If you can't get in touch with that person in that parish, give me a call. Call the rural development if you have rural development. They'll get you the contact information that you need. Miss Judy showed y'all something on one of her handouts a little bit earlier, is a website. I can give you a name about this long. nrcs.usda.gov/programs/CSP, whatever. USDA.gov. When you open that web page up, at the bottom of the page it says agencies and missions. Click on the little tab. You got rural development, you got FSA, NRCS. You got every agency and mission that is under USDA listed there. It'll take you to that web page. Can't remember RD's website? Go to USDA.gov, agencies and missions. You hit rural development, you go to rural development's national web page. From there you can go to state web page. Just remember that, USDA.gov. Every program that we have within the agency, within USDA, is somewhere on that website. And it's not that hard to find. It's the website's been updated. Programs, conservation programs, rural grants, all that stuff is on there. Okay.
Is there some irrigation programs?
There are some irrigation programs through EQIP, but there's some eligibility issues as far as can you qualify for it. And I'll talk about that in a second. When you first come into office, and it was mentioned earlier about FSA and getting there and recording your acres. Okay, I grew up on a hay farm. Grew up on a dairy, beef, soybeans, corn, wheat, hay, and horse farm. I've run the full gamut of FSA. I've run the full gamut working for NRCS. If you don't report what you have, it doesn't exist. You can bring your records in to FSA, and they will take your yields, and they will record it against you. So you don't have to go against the parish average if you have a disaster. But you do have to go in and point out that this acreage, this boundary, you have to bring your plat and whatever, whether it's lease land or own land. If it's own land, you bring your plat in. If it's lease land, you have to prove that you're leasing it. You have to be able to identify that property. That property is given a farm and tract number. That is a main requirement for any one of our conservation programs. We have to be able to identify that we're spending government dollars for this particular thing on this particular land use. And all that comes down to is everything that we do, like a pipe drop, it has a 15-year lifespan. We can't go back and redo that pipe drop for 15 years unless it's a failure that wasn't due to your own fault. Natural disaster, something like that. We do have cases where we put stuff in and the soil's not quite right, it blows out, and we go back and there could be some funds to go back and fix it. But we have to track where that money goes to. You have to have a farm and tract number. To be eligible for these programs, you also have to be an agricultural producer. All that is that you sell or can sell at least $1,000 of agricultural crops in a given year. Now you can be a guy on 10 acres of land with 2 freezer calves that you're going to eat yourself. Those calves are valued at more than $1,000, especially in today's beef market. You qualify as an agricultural producer. I can go out there and help put in a water trough, a heavy use pad around the trough, cross fencing, a water well to water them, pipeline to get water to them. If you have no shade, we can cost share on the shade structure.
Yeah. But you're talking to pecan growers. What can you do for pecan growers?
Right. Well, I'm just giving you an idea.
We're not interested in cows.
Right. But I'm just giving you an idea as far as a
I mean,
pecan grower.
my land has a pH of 5, and they tell me I need a 7. I need 2,000 pounds of lime per acre.
To go up 2 points on pH?
Yeah.
That's not bad, actually.
Well, I think I can't afford to pay it at 35 cents a
Right.
pound.
Now, that would be considered a production practice. Flat out put lime out there. We're in the conservation side of it.
Okay.
Okay.
No problem.
But in saying that, in that orchard, pecan trees need nitrogen, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can't afford that either. That's 35 cents a pound.
What about if I say I can help cost share plant nitrogen, plant clover out there that produces its own nitrogen that trees can use, and in being able to plant clover, we also can put a ton of lime to the acre, or 2 tons of lime to the acre. It's a flat rate cost per acre. It's not going to cover lime at $50 a ton spread, but it might cover $40 of it. and they'll pay $20 an acre for the clover seed. You do two things there. One, you get your pH, or you actually doing three things. Get your pH up, you get the nitrogen source for your trees, and you prepare pollinator habitat. So if you have other things in your farm that you need pollinators for, you have habitat to bring them there. Depending on what kind of clover you use, it may be that you can start a side business with some bees and have another value-added product that you might be able to do out there. In our programs, we have transition to organic and organic programs. So those people that are interested in the organic side of things or more natural side of things, you do compete against other growers or other people in the organic money. There's a special pot of money put aside for that. It was mentioned earlier, socially disadvantaged and beginning farmers have a pot of money over here that they go after first, and then they're in a statewide pool or a nationwide pool. We have the same thing. Those beginning farmers are socially disadvantaged farmers. We can put you in that. In our programs, instead of giving you 50% cost share, you get up to 90% cost share. That payment rate could be boosted up. Instead of getting $50 for every 100, you could get $90 for every 100. There's a chance in that case that you would actually get paid more than it costs you to put it out there. I don't care. Government, according to the way it's set up, the government, we're going to pay you. If we say that you put this in, we're going to pay you $90 for every $100 that you spend, you get $90. Yes, sir.
Back on the clover and the lime deal, I've been trying to work on that for about 4 years now. And here, statewide, mainly here in Georgia, they're doing that, but I can't ever get it in the parish I live in.
What parish?
Somewhere in Cardia.
Okay.
I'm very personal friends with the guy that's there in the parish, Ben, and they said it's not there. Now,
There-
how can you go on the website somewhere and find out if it's there or not there?
You got to go.
Well,
donkey.
go.
Put a grazing animal out there that qualifies as pasture. And that's where some of the programs overlap and stuff. You have to, everything has to qualify. We talked about irrigation. This is what I'm getting into. Okay. And I raise donkeys too, so. Actually, if somebody wants a donkey, I'll give you one. Want a horse? I'll give you a horse too. Irrigation in pecan orchards. Typically, pecan orchards are not going to be flood irrigated in Louisiana. Drip irrigation or something like that. We do have irrigation related practices, but it's tied to flood irrigation. We can't drill a new well. We can convert, if this was a rice field, and there are some rice fields that you could convert to a pecan orchard. There's rice fields you can convert to loblollies, longleaf, whatever. You can convert them to trees. If it was flood irrigated, we can go in there and help to set up a system to convert it to something more efficient, from flood irrigation to drip irrigation. In the organic side of it, and I apologize for getting a little bit out of pecans.
That's all right.
When you look at this farm here, we have some fruit trees, we have all kinds of different things out there. A lot of your farms are going to have a diversified thing. You're going to have fruit and vegetables, whatever. Under organics, if you have a garden set up for organic system, there is an irrigation system in there that will pay for the full drip line, the compost tea, everything, the whole 9 yards. Cost share on $35,000 is what we pay. It don't cost that much to put one in. Trust me, we just finished putting one. Depending on where you fit at in these programs, not everything works for everybody. Every field office has the same things. Everybody, all my counterparts, we have the same thing in front of us. There is some difference sometimes in how we read the way the rules come out, and that was mentioned earlier, and it does make a difference. But also, and I'll give you an example for longleaf. Allen, Beauregard, and Vernon Parish are the 3 parishes in the state that have the highest participation in replanting longleaf pine. It's also a historical area for longleaf pine. You go in any other parish in the state and say, I want to plant longleaf pine, we can't cost share it. Because historically, longleaf pine was in this area. So they're not going to put cost share dollars for something that's over there that wasn't there to begin with. And that's just another example of that kind of program. But when you look at it, we do have a lot of things that can be beneficial to y'all. Tremendous amount. We could talk here till 4 o'clock this afternoon and go over everything. I'm not going to bore y'all with all that. If you have a question, call the office. Go by and sit with them. have a map, have something so we can look at it. We'll set up an appointment to go out and look at the land. Trust me. Right now with computers and everything, we want you to get out of the office. So anytime that you come in, we'll get out there and look at it. If we don't know what we're doing in that particular situation, everybody has their strengths and weaknesses, we will get somebody to come help us and figure out what to do. Okay, going from cost share programs, equip, switching over to CSP.
Before that, on like a flood irrigation, if someone, what kind of history are you looking at? Like a 5-year?
2 out of the last 5 years.
5 years?
2 out of the last 5 years. And if you got an organic garden or a garden situation, vegetable situation, it can be a water hose that you're watering with.
Well, I'm thinking of more of it if someone puts in a flood irrigation system and they manage it for 5 years, let's just say 5 years, and it's just not it's not being cost efficient. At that time, they would come in.
They would qualify because going from that flood area 2 out of the last 5 years, and that is in the EQIP manual, the EQIP rules, that there's 5 things in there that we cannot do, and that's one of the 5. They stuck that in there. But it has to be flood irrigated 2 out of the last 5 years to qualify for the irrigation practices, and it'll be laser leveling, sprinkler systems, drip tape, underground irrigation pipeline, different things like that. Even with that said, 2 out of the last 5 years, we still can't cost share an irrigation well. You can't touch
Not
a
on the
well.
well itself, but y'all would come in and the cost share all the line where
From point of delivery to on the way
to
out.
a filter. I think y'all cost share on the filtration system if it needs to be filtered. If say with flood, we had a lot of high iron.
If we were looking at the drip tapes in a vegetable situation, small orchard, to where we got to put it through drip tapes, yes. They would have something. There is something in there for that filtration, sand filter, some kind of biological filter, to take the iron out, take the impurities out, so that you don't plug up the emitters.
Is there a minimum number of
How
acres?
about converting
No.
from well to surface water?
Anything to do with the well, we don't touch.
I'm doing away with the well going surface water.
We
Nothing.
nothing. I can't cost share. I mean, basically what you're gonna be looking at is having a pump and a suction intake. The well's over here, the surface water's over there. Now, once you put that unit in, you put that well in, whether it's electric, diesel, or whatever, I can hook up to it and hook you up to your system that you have in place. But I can't actually touch that motor or that power unit that runs the well. But coming out of the well, typically on the irrigation well, you can have some kind of cooler steel leg that comes out of the well and goes in the ground. We have a separate cost share